know what else? I actually want to go on a little bit of a rant here, guys, because let me tell you something. People shit on people with jobs all the time, and I know you guys know what I'm talking about. There's all these get rich quick clowns who try to shame you for working a job, and oh, you're a loser if you work a job. You should be a multimillionaire like me. Listen, man, working a job has saved me financially. I'm not joking. Working a job has literally been a blessing for me. Like, I love my job. My job pays well. I love my boss. I love everybody I work with. And it's given me an opportunity to live a decent life, right? Like, to me personally, I think working a job is actually what should be preached. I think anybody that tells you that you shouldn't work a job is crazy. That's what I think. I think the people who tell you don't work a job, just become an entrepreneur or be a YouTuber, I think it's stupid. I think it works for some people, but I think the average person is better off getting a job, living below your means, and working on increasing your income. That's really what I think. Buying Spencer's course isn't going to save you. And we're learning this firsthand, right? Because let me tell you something, guys. Do I still have the comment up? Okay, good. I still have the comment up. People always talk about the successes of being an entrepreneur, like Meet Kevin making $20 million. And who else made a lot of money on YouTube? I don't know, Mr. Beast. People always talk to you about the successes, but they never tell you about the failures. Sure, if you quit your job and become an entrepreneur, sure, if you do that, you might become the next Meet Kevin or the next Mr. Beast, maybe. But you know what more likely will probably happen to you if you quit your job and try to become a YouTube guru or a YouTuber or whatever you do? You know what most likely is going to happen? You could end up becoming Spencer Cornelia. You're not making enough money on YouTube to sustain yourself because the ad revenue went down and the YouTube algorithm changed. And now you're in a position where you're like, what he said right here, I'd be better off getting a day job right now. But guess what? You haven't worked the job in years. Who's going to hire you? What is your employer going to say when you go to them and say, hey, I'd like to get a job. These are my qualifications. And your employer looks at your thing and it says, hasn't worked the job since 2017. What do you think they're going to do? You think they're going to go with you, the guy who hasn't worked since 2017? Or are they going to go with the guy who's been working from 2017 to 2023 and literally just left another job to work here? Who they going to choose? You see what I'm saying? That's why I try to be realistic. That's why I try to tell you guys, we need to be more realistic in finance. We need to stop with this get rich quick gambling mindset. It's toxic and it's stupid. Sure, Spencer Cornelia made a lot of money on YouTube. He made a decent amount of money. He made like several six figures. That's pretty good. But look at where he's at now. And this isn't a diss to you, Spencer. I like you, man. I have no issue with you. But I just want to highlight, this is why you don't quit your job. This is why. I don't condone it. I don't believe in it. I really don't. If you're tired of working for the man and you want to be an entrepreneur, there's nothing wrong with that. You should work towards that if that's what you want to do. But don't quit your job unless you can kind of map out your future. If you have done the homework and your research and you've concluded that you're going to be able to make tens of thousands, maybe even millions, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars on YouTube for the next 5-10 years, and you have a plan of how you're going to invest that money, and you have a backup plan in case YouTube doesn't work out, then I'm all for it. But if you're just going to quit your job and do YouTube and not take into account that the algorithm might change, you might fall off, you might piss off your audience, YouTube might one day wake up and say, I don't think we want to pay creators anymore. You just never know what YouTube could do. I personally don't see myself ever quitting my job because I would never want to put my trust into YouTube. You can work a job and make good money. I don't know why nobody preaches that. You know what we should start preaching in America? If you're going to go to college, you should major in these 5 majors. You should either be a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, computer science, engineering, all that stuff. If you do that, you won't have to become a fake YouTube clown guru. You can actually work a job and be rich if you get the right major. I feel like we don't preach that enough. Jobs are one step above slavery. I don't agree with this. Okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this real quick. I really don't agree with this, and I really don't like when people say that because, first of all, slavery was so horrific. I hate it when people compare jobs to slavery. Now, if you mean that in like a metaphoric sense, then I get it. But I still don't like it because slavery was like a whole new level. Like slavery was awful, like torturous. You know what I mean? But I don't think that jobs are one step above slavery. I really don't. Because look, I'll just use me as an example. I can only speak for myself, right? I work a job right now and I am so happy. I'm one of those people who wakes up every day happy to go to work. I'm not even joking. When I wake up and I know that I'm going to work, I'm happy because my job pays well. My job gives very generous benefits. I get to choose my own schedule. I can literally work however I want during the day. I don't have a boss that micromanages me. Everybody in my company likes me. The CEO likes me. My boss likes me. It's a really cool job. I'm not overwhelmed or overworked. I'm not staying up late at night to do my work. So how is that above slavery? How am I a slave by working a job? I'm able to pay my bills. I'm able to put money away. I'm able to put money for retirement. How is that slavery? So that's why I don't like it when people say that. I really don't. Jobs is not slavery. Sometimes you got to take accountability too. There's a lot of people who don't work hard and are lazy, and so they're working jobs that they don't like. But who says that you can't change your own reality? You can always go back to school and get a decent major. You can always get a better job. How is job a step above slavery? We need jobs to power the economy, to power the world. You have to work. Like somebody's got to do it. The step is getting paid and being able to leave. What do you mean being able to leave? This is what I don't like. People say things like, oh, when you work a job or whatever, you can't leave or whatever. What do you mean you can't leave? You can leave. Like, I never understood that. I'm just as free at my job as somebody working. Like, what do you mean? If you're one of those people and you're living paycheck to paycheck and you can't stop working your job, that's because of you. You got to make better financial decisions. If you have yourself an emergency fund or a savings account or a stock portfolio with a decent amount of money, you're free, in my opinion. If your job pisses you off, you could quit. You use your emergency fund to afford your bills until you find the next job. Sounds free to me. I can leave my job right now. I would never do that. But if anything ever happened, I got my emergency fund. Okay, 3 months, give me a few months, go on vacation maybe, since I got fired or quit, whatever I did, go on vacation for a month, for a week, come back, look for a job, boom, I'm good. I feel like people talk about jobs but don't put in the right context. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to tell you guys the truth. A lot of people make bad decisions and they blame the job for their bad decisions. I think you can still be free. A lot of the reason why people feel enslaved at their job is because they don't make financially smart decisions, right? So if you're saying things like, oh, my boss, the reason why you're enslaved is because you have to work or you're going to suffer and not pay bills. That's not true. Save your freaking money and you'll be fine. Oh, you got to do whatever your boss tells you, or not. You got to do whatever the government tells you. What's the difference? Well, you want to live a life where you don't got to answer to nobody? Life doesn't work that way. If a cop pulls you over, guess what you got to do? Pull over. If the government tells you you got to pay this, you got to do something, guess what you got to do? Pay it. So what are we talking about here? Like, what are we talking about? So because you have to answer to authority, you're enslaved? Somebody explain it to me, because I'm not getting it. I think a lot of the reasons why people feel enslaved to their boss is because you let it happen. If my boss turned into an a-hole tomorrow, I'm leaving. Simple as that. I'm leaving. I'm not taking that crap. And thankfully, not every boss is like that. I'll go somewhere where my boss isn't like that. So that's what I'm not understanding. Somebody help me understand this whole a job, you're a slave thing. I really want to understand this. I really want to understand it.